come in June, that this program is instead preparing teachers who are thoughtful, who are going to do the best for their students, and who are going to be reflective. And that's what the teacher research part is all about. So I am incredibly proud of these students who are graduating. An intense 13-month program, very intense. And I know they're looking forward to catching their breath. But really, I think that the hope of our democracy, the hope of our country, and the promise of our country is really carried on by teachers who are teaching the next generation. And I am very confident that these teachers are going to continue to care about their students first and foremost, to know their content, to see the big picture, to ask questions, and to advocate for what's right for their children and for the schools in which they are working. So I would like to congratulate the students from the bottom of my heart. I would like to thank the faculty who have been here and who have cared about these students, as well as really worked to make sure that they gathered, that they strengthen the skills that they need. And most of all, I would also like to thank you as families, because you have been a critical part, families and friends, supporting them through their ups and their downs. And that's why we are celebrating them today. So thank you very much.
In a moment, we're going to bring our faculty and our field instructors who supervise our students out there in the schools and the people who teach the courses here, because none of us could do this alone. And each of them is going to introduce themselves and say a few words about each of our MATs. And I should tell you that every single MAT had multiple people vying for the opportunity to speak about them. So there's a little drawing of straws and mostly good sportsmanship on our part. But before I ask the faculty to introduce themselves, there are a couple of really important introductions. Rachel Kramer Theodoro is the elementary faculty leader, and that title belies all the work that she is doing. So not only is she guiding the curriculum and the process by which our elementary educators grow and develop, she's teaching in our core courses, she is advising, she's working with the state of Massachusetts, she is behind the scenes and underneath all that happens in the elementary program. It wouldn't exist without Rachel. And she's there for the one-on-one, and she's there for the big picture. And as an aside, this year she became a web designer and redesigned our website. So I primarily get to teach in the secondary program, and Rachel primarily gets to teach in the elementary program. She also, by the way, teaches our English language learner courses, a course on how to teach English learners in the classroom. So, but we do a little bit of elementary and secondary divide. But one person works with every single one of our students and makes sure that the actual teaching that you heard about today and teacher research happens. Our assistant director for field experience, Annie Grover. Annie has an amazing job. She went out and visited pretty much every single one of our students at their schools. She is responsible for their whole licensure process, which includes, I don't know, more than 100 pages of documentation to send to the state and keeping them on with that. She keeps us all grounded and moving forward. And I heard from students in my exit interviews things like, Annie is a superwoman and Annie is a rock star. I agree. Thank you, Annie. Begin the presentation of the certificates with the elementary education cohort.
So Marissa exudes positivity and confidence in nearly every interaction. No problem is too great, no task too menial. Marissa balanced school, coursework, softball, and eventually a long-term substitute position with humility and poise. As her field instructor, Harriet Griffin, explains, serious and easygoing, thorough and flexible, patient and assertive. With high expectations for all students, Marissa successfully encourages individual development with just the right amount of support, never hesitant to ask for and accept assistance. Marissa models what good teammates learn from each other and what good coaches of all kinds practice. She then instinctively transfers these lessons to her teaching. Assessing students continually, Marissa searches for a combination of strategies to steer her students toward an aha moment or move them down the road to achieve mastery. We are so proud to have Marissa as part of our team. Congratulations.
I am here to talk about Katie Talia-Duchen. Come on up. So Katie is a longtime Grandisian, as she graduated some years ago from the university with a degree in psychology, and she came back for her MAT after spending some time doing social work. We and her first graders at Fletcher Manor Academy in Cambridge are sure glad she chose to teach. Katie has always had a whole child view of teaching, where she integrates mind and body to the benefit of teachers and students alike. Her research on mindfulness truly captured what I think Katie intended to build as her stance on teaching, that kids are only able to be their best selves when feeling physically and emotionally grounded and present. I observed Katie teach at FMA and saw this philosophy as she knew instinctively, almost like she'd been doing this for years, truly. When and how kids needed body breaks, when they needed a quick affirming squeeze or high five, along with each of these interventions, she continued to hold out high expectations that these kids needed for academic language, for the content and the skills that they were learning in this reading group, and even for metacognition, which is this ability to step back and say, how did I just do that? How did I learn it so well? She held them each to those high standards. Katie, while you came to us already capable and confident that you could nurture children, now you are exceptionally ready to teach. Congratulations.
I have 2 minutes for a good morning. Otherwise, if you were late, I'd have to change my seat. Hi, everybody. I'm Marcy Abramson, and I teach ED 105A, Methods of Teaching Mathematics, in the elementary classroom when the students are in their junior year. Right? And I'm pleased and proud to speak on behalf of Marissa Massoya. So let's do some math. If A equals 1, B equals 2, and C equals 3, etc., then Marissa's name equals 77. And 7 plus 7 equals 14, and 1 plus 4 equals 5. In math, 5 is a prime number. And Marissa is a prime example of what a teacher should do. Whether it was in art class or in her MAT classes, in her student teaching experience, or on her softball team, she was and is the person who creates harmony and balance by respecting and promoting everyone's similarities and differences and learning and playing styles. Her sense of grace and compassion landed on peers and teachers and her students, who always feel better and felt better when she was around. From planning a math lesson way back when, using chocolate bars to represent addition and erasing, in addition to to her work on pilgrims. Math is okay, yes, social studies. And her practicum, her hard work, spirit, and attention to the learning styles of all is so important in future teachers and veteran teachers and all teachers. Marissa understands that. This is what makes her a prime picture of a teacher. Her principal was so impressed with her that she was hired as a long-term sub in Waltham. Whoever and wherever Marissa is grabbed up, her students will be the ones to benefit from this home run of a future teacher. I wish you all the best.
Amber Miles, come on up. Hi, okay. Amber is another one of our BAMATs, and some of you may have begun to notice that some of our students have chosen to spend an extra time here, summer before and summer after senior year, to engage in an even more rigorous program of study where they complete both their bachelor's and their master's degree together. And so Amber is another one of our BAMATs as we name this cohort. I met her just a year ago as someone who has spent a lot of time here at Brandeis pursuing journalism, and as lead editor of our campus newspaper, and generally doing so exceptionally well in all of her classes. Fast forward to now, and who you see in front of you today is a supremely well-prepared teacher, and I would add, teacher researcher. Her presentation was outstanding today. When I observed her teach, she was reading Peter Pan to her linguistically diverse class, and although the storyline was familiar to many, Amber was there to teach characterization, and she was going to hold her students to high standards and have some fun doing this at the same time. So hearkening upon her journalism skills, Amber had her students create mock news interviews for the students to act in the roles of Captain Hook, Tink, and of course Peter. And they had to cite characteristics using first language as needed, and in her case it would be Spanish. Create a persona and construct questions for the interviews. I can tell you that fun was surely had, and to boot, these kids now have a burgeoning vocabulary for describing story characters. Next year, Amber will be teaching a 4th, 5th grade combined class, primarily with English learners, back home in Arizona. Congratulations. Cindy Claire Quinno.
I'm Joan Martin, and I teach teaching mathematics in the elementary classroom, and I was privileged to have Sydney in my class. And Sydney has been an asset to the Brandeis community since the start of the freshman year, a number of years ago. A self-starter with strong convictions, with an optimistic zeal, she has repeatedly challenged herself to take on experiences that would best prepare her for the daunting task of teaching elementary students. Sydney secured a full-time internship and aide position while carrying a full academic load. Sydney's passion to create an inclusive, safe classroom community for her students with diverse learning styles, interests, and abilities led her to design a unique science unit on the weather for her 5th grade class. Sydney guided students in grappling with such sophisticated concepts as barometric pressure and how and why it rains. As a student in my course, teaching mathematics in the elementary classroom, I appreciated Sydney's concern for others, her thorough and insightful completion of assignments, her tenacity, keen insight, creative flair in solving problems. With these qualities and proven accomplishments, Sydney will surely prove to be an asset to the teaching profession and become a beloved teacher of choice by many future and fortunate students. Congratulations.
Jenny Weaver, come on up. These people have undergraduate department rep for our program, which means that she helped undergraduates get to know education, and in recommending her for the prestigious GMED Award, which she received as a sophomore for students who have outstanding scholarship and extracurricular achievement, and for this entire year. So Jenny has always been a student of teaching, as she shared with us her memories, both positive and negative, of being taught, playing school when she was young, and volunteering with her former teachers back home. This year, however, she developed a truly remarkable set of teaching skills and the ability to engender a growth mindset in her fourth graders. I observed her teach math this spring, where Jenny was circulating amongst her students, pushing for clarity as they expressed their thought, encouraging their various learning styles, some with whiteboards depicting their problems, some needed to talk out their ideas, while others looked up to the ceiling and displayed computations in their head. And Jenny kept up with her mantra, "You can do this, keep going, you're almost there, close, you got it." And Jenny circulated and was steadfast and calm and supportive. Jenny, you've made your mark here at Brandeis over the many years with your students at Stanley, and I am convinced that you will be an unforgettable and devoted teacher to your future students. Congratulations. Jenny's the half I have to say, go USA this afternoon. Call up Sydney Nicole Blumen.
Hi, I'm Ziva Hassenfeld, postdoctoral fellow here. And I had the good fortune to teach Sydney in our Inside Jewish Day Schools seminar. Sydney, teaching is in your blood, with your mother and father are teachers, and your desire to combine your almost innate knowledge that you want to teach with your burgeoning love of Judaism and venture into the world of Jewish Day Schools was admirable. I'll never forget our first session together last summer and your complete enthusiasm for all of your educational and Jewish experiences that have brought you here and all that lay ahead of you. I love camp, you told us. I hope Jewish day schools are a lot like camp. They're not. But together, you learn to love and appreciate everything Jewish day schools do have to offer, even if it is admittedly less spirited than camp. This program is difficult, it's rigorous, it's something that I could not have pulled off 1 year out of college, but you did it. And you stuck with it, and you rose to every challenge you faced, and you learned how to investigate your practice with sincerity and humility, and importantly, you learned to laugh at those moments that all you can do is laugh. Next year, Boston will have the privilege to have you as a kindergarten teacher at Metro West Day School. And who knows, maybe my children too will get the privilege to have you as their kindergarten teacher. Congratulations, and also, I wish you all the luck.
Ali Ahmed, come on up.
Hi, let's make sure this is the right height. I'm Deb Kalansky, and I'm a field instructor in the elementary ed program. And lucky are the people who get to be in the orbit of the wise and wonderful Ali Comet. Colleagues and students alike, really anyone who encounters Ali will immediately sense her authenticity, the very thing that drives her classroom presence, which students sense and know they can fully trust. Ali knows I'm not exaggerating when I say it has been genuinely thrilling to watch her in action. She has made me cry before watching how awesome she is as she responds to students with her signature mix of groundedness, keen intellect, genuine tuned-in empathy, and exquisite sensitivity. Ali brings a mix of deep understanding of subject matter and joy to the lessons she teaches, and does everything in her power to reach each and every child. When Ali senses that a student might be confused or in need of help, she responds with her entire being. Facial expression, physical presence, reassuring words. Students know she is there for them. And whether it is the student in need of support or the surrounding students watching, in beholding Allie's presence, students not only know that they are well cared for, but also learn to care for each other in community. That's where it gets really, Allie's ability to juggle the intellectual goal of a lesson with the important hidden curriculum of teaching children to be tuned into our collective humanity is always apparent. Allie helps her students rise to a higher level of learning and living by modeling intention and compassion with a gentle and sincere guiding hand. Students feel so safe in Allie's presence and in the powerfully positive climate she creates so that deep risk-taking and learning can occur. Allie is destined to be one of those rare and special educators who makes each student feel seen, valued, and treasured. It's been my great pleasure watching Allie grow into the teacher she is today. I look forward to seeing where she will take and share her gifts. Congratulations.
Offer my huge hug and love to all of you elementary people. Congratulations. Well done. Pass the mic over to my colleague, Tanya.
Tamar Renzel.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Lucas. I teach a summer course called the Psychology of Student Learning. So I get secondary students and we immediately plunge them into an exploration of the human mind. It's great to see everyone again. I call this the game cohort because all of the self-reflection we did, everyone was super game. So thank you, and I'm so happy to be here for Tamar today. So in our course, we get to do a lot of self-reflection, and it didn't take me long to realize that Tamar has already put a lot of thought into the significance of her role as a teacher. She has a clear commitment to providing physical and psychological safety for all students in the classroom, and I believe she'll be a strong advocate for equality in schools. In addition, Tamar has a rich inner life, a devotion to self-care, an appreciation for the healing powers of sleep, and a love of animals that I think at the time was a particular quirky. I don't know if that's still the case. And all of these, I believe, will enrich her life for years to come. So in short, I have no doubt of her devotion to the craft of teaching, and I hope you'll keep me informed of your inevitable personal and professional success.
Matthew Phillip. Matthew brings to teaching a superb background in content. He had a major in classical studies, film and TV and media, and European cultural studies here at Brandeis. He then went on to do a BA, MA in comparative humanities, as well as participating in Fulbright. So he has incredible, rich knowledge of content. What Matthew was doing this year was trying to figure out, how do I combine that with knowledge of students? How do I combine that so that the students also come with a sense of inquiry? And I have to say to you, having looked at his research project, which he took media, and he took small parts of it, and he thought not about media as entertainment, but about media and how it engaged his students in the content. He thought about modeling as a teacher, how you think about media and what kind of questions come from it. And so I am incredibly impressed by what he's been able to do this year. and I wish him well, and I know that his future students are going to be very fortunate to have him.
Hey, Yunshu. So I don't know if you remember this, but in one of our very first conversations, you talked about social justice. You said, I'm really committed to it. It's not just a phrase for me. I really want to impart it in every part of my life, really concretely impart it. And she has. How rare is it that a biology teacher would be interested in language and reading? But that was the stumbling block for Payne's students, so she took it on. Payne worked with students who haven't had a voice in their learning and had them reflect and self-assess to look at their own work and their own learning. She realized that social justice isn't so much about empowering students, like giving them our power, but for them to find the power that is within themselves. She gave concrete strategies to let them take ownership of the intellectual work. She gave them a chance to explore concepts before rattling off definitions. Payne insisted on sticking with those same students, even as she earned an additional certification in teaching English learners. She took on extra courses and taught biology to students who are often relegated to remedial work simply because of their language barriers. Pay's commitment has never wavered, and we are so grateful.
Sheila Crean, if you could please come up. So it is my honor and my privilege as Sheila's teacher research instructor to share some information about her today. But I also stand here representing Rebecca, her pedagogy science instructor, and also Phyllis, her field instructor. So, according to Rebecca, Sheila is tremendously creative, ambitious, reflective, and she is always willing to take risks and find the best ways to engage students in authentic and challenging work. Phyllis, her field instructor, shared, Sheila is the most innovative and creative student teacher I have ever worked with. She is also one of the most giving teachers, giving of her time, of her energy, her expertise, and her wisdom. Phyllis has also noted that as a former research scientist and also an expert in conducting systematic literature research, Sheila has a unique background as a secondary science teacher, one that makes her interesting and special. And as her teacher research instructor, I have been extremely impressed by her work ethic and the quality of her work. I have never taught a student with her research background and expertise. And she is the only student in the 3 years that I've been teaching this course to write a scholarly research article about her research and to submit it to an academic journal. But while I am most wowed by her brilliance, by her research background, and by her expertise, what has impressed me most about Sheila is her passion, her ingenuity, her thorough preparation, and the perfection that epitomizes both her research and her teaching. I loved witnessing and hearing, sometimes after class for about a half hour, hearing about her enthusiasm, about her research and different instructional activities that she was planning and that she implemented in her class, one of which our student commented was his favorite of the year. I predict that Sheila will be many students' favorite teacher throughout her lifetime as a teacher. And as she raised the bar for me as an instructor for a class, I can even imagine you as teacher of the year one day. So congratulations.
is here with us today. Instead of at one of the Close the Detention Camps protests that she herself organized. For which she has been working on spreadsheets. And that is such a perfect example of Hannah's sort of lofty goals and her groundedness. In fact, Hannah elevates and grounds everything that we do simultaneously. In every conversation, she reminds us why we do this work. For liberation and equity, but also so students have skills, actual skills, that they can take into a broken world and do the work themselves. Hannah makes connections between those lofty goals and her daily classroom conversation, between readings, between courses, across months. But as importantly, she has been a connecting force for all of us, for the cohort. She cares deeply about the experiences of her peers, as a group, as a whole. As you saw in her research, for Hannah, it wasn't enough just to build a positive classroom community in which students show respect for each other, which is a pretty high bar for even a veteran teacher. No, it had to be community in the service of the work, in service of learning. Hannah, you have raised my hopes and made me want to dig in deeper and get better at what I do. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Nora Kearney. So I was also Nora's field instructor throughout this whole school year. So I got to know Nora very well. And I knew that I liked Nora from the beginning. Yes, we have similar backgrounds. We both were raised in Catholic schools with a strong sense of family, but it was through her teaching that I saw how devoted Nora is to doing right by her students.